After another disappointing playoff exit from the Portland Trail Blazers in round 1, it's been reported by Chris Haynes that Damian Lillard could want out of Portland as he's starting to get extremely frustrated with the organization, specifically with him being excluded from the hunt to find Portland's next head coach. After several difficult playoff exits, it's time to seriously consider his future with the Portland Trail Blazers. He's got a contract that extends until the 2025 season where he'll be 35 years old, and as much as I'm sure he'd love to be loyal to the Blazers organization, he's already 30 years old and he needs to max out the final few years of his prime. I'm Thomas Stapleton of the Right Way Sports Network, and today we're going to take a look at the Blazers' current roster and if it's good enough to win a title. Then we'll look at some potential trade packages to see which teams could realistically acquire him. Let's get into it. The Blazers' roster on paper doesn't look all that bad. Dame's backcourt partner is CJ McCollum, an elite off-guard who's a knockdown shooter and an elite off-ball mover. His shooting gravity and on-ball creation is huge for Portland when Dame doesn't have the ball. Jusuf Nurkic is perhaps the best connective tissue big man in the league. His screen setting, passing, defense, and feel for the game make him a great starting big when he's healthy. He helps maximize the off-ball movement of CJ because of his passing vision, and him and Dame make a lethal pick-and-roll duo. Robert Covington is a terrific 3-and-D guy who was phenomenal on the defensive end of the floor this year. Now you add in Norman Powell, who's a solid scorer, Carmelo Anthony, who's a good shot creator and shooter, and some other guys who can offer serviceable minutes and spots, and that's a really solid roster on paper. However, there have been a couple of issues that have held them back. The main one is health, as just this year, CJ McCollum missed 25 games and Jusuf Nurkic missed 35 games. When your second and third best players are out, it's hard to get into a rhythm and maximize your regular season success. The other issue has been their defense. Despite Nurkic's great rim protection and Covington's elite help defense, Portland ranked 29th in defensive rating in the regular season. There's other minor problems, but those have been the two most apparent issues in my opinion. With not a lot of leeway to make trades or sign major free agents, it's fair to ask if the Blazers roster is currently maxed out. And looking at the roster, it's clear that this is not a championship level team. So, what's next for Damian Lillard? Requesting a trade is the best way to get out, but this is Damian Lillard we're talking about. There aren't going to be a lot of teams that could put together a package that'll be super enticing. I'll be taking a look at a bunch of teams that could put together a package, and you can tell me which ones are the most fair in the comments section. The first team, believe it or not, is Golden State. It may seem like a far out option, and while it likely is, they do have the assets to put together a solid package. It would have to start with James Wiseman, Andrew Wiggins, and their 2 lottery picks this year to even get into the conversation. While I do have my skepticisms about James Wiseman, I do think that he does have some potential as a pick-and-roll big and rim protector if he develops in those areas. And then Andrew Wiggins has really come along this year. I was very happy with his development, and I think he could be a solid asset for Portland down the line. And then the 2 lottery picks this year is a really, really good draft, and those 2 lottery picks could potentially land you a star if you draft right. But that's not going to be enough, unfortunately. Jordan Poole will be another guy that will have to go as well. While Poole is an awesome scoring combo guard with a lot of potential, he'll have to see the door if it means getting Lillard. Then they'll probably have to add more picks to the deal. Something along the lines of Wiseman, Wiggins, Poole, the 2 lottery picks this year, and 2 unprotected picks down the line. And that could be a really solid package. For the Warriors side, the idea of Dame, Steph, and Clay is just incredible. Unlimited pull-up shooting and on-ball creation, and just overall shooting. Like Steph, Dame, and Clay, those are 3 of the best shooters in NBA history, and that's just going to be an unbelievable all-around offense. However, while the pieces are there and Golden State acquiring another star does make a lot of sense, it may not be the most realistic offer. But another team that can be thrown into the mix is the New Orleans Pelicans. Zion is the only untouchable guy on the roster, but everyone else is up for grabs. The centerpiece of the deal in this case would be Brandon Ingram, an awesome young scoring wing with good playmaking and on-ball creation. Guys like Kyra Lewis and Jackson Hayes would also be musts in the deal. They own a top 10 pick this year as well, and they'll likely need to add 2 to 3 other first-round picks. Ingram, while young, is also a proven star, and getting him alongside a rising young guard in Kyra Lewis, an athletic young big in Hayes, and 3 to 4 picks is a quality offer. Damian Lillard and Zion Williamson would instantly become one of the best duos in the league because of their contrasting styles. Damian Lillard could be the lethal shot creator and shooter, while Zion would provide the rim pressure and interior scoring. The Pelicans haven't been a team talked about too much in the Dame sweepstakes, but I definitely think they could put together one of the most enticing packages, but you let me know in the comments below what you think. Then there's Philadelphia, who could throw a whole lot at Dame. While Ben Simmons as the headliner of a trade package after these playoffs may make Portland fans sick to their stomach, they could also add a terrific young two-way guard in Tyrese Maxey and a generational perimeter defender in Matisse Thybulle. Not only that, but they'd also get a surplus of picks with that as well. Joel Embiid has longed for a true perimeter creator, and Dame is one of the best in the game. The spacing would be incredible too, with the potential lineup of Damian Lillard, Seth Curry, Danny Green, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. And the defense wouldn't take as huge of a hit as people think just because they lose Simmons and Thybulle, because they still have one of the game's best rim protectors alongside Danny Green and Tobias Harris being solid as well. However, personally, if I'm Portland, I just don't trade for Ben Simmons. He's completely tanked his value, and trading for someone who has shown little to no offensive improvement in the league, while also being a negative floor spacer and overall half-court player, just makes him a liability in certain situations. I'm personally not touching Ben Simmons this summer, and I don't think Portland will either. Another dark horse team to throw in the mix would be the Denver Nuggets. While the likelihood of this happening is low, Denver could make a godfather offer of their own if they really want to. They can include one of, if not both, of Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. alongside other young players or draft compensation. They could make the best package, but they also have the lowest odds of pulling the trigger, in my opinion. But if they really want Dame, they're going to get him, because the idea of Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., and then either picks or maybe some more young guys off their bench, that's a really good offer, and I think Portland would have to accept that in a heartbeat. So looking at the current state of the Blazers roster and the packages that the Blazers could get if they wish, should Damian Lillard request a trade and get out of Portland? The answer is an emphatic yes. It'll be sad for Portland fans to watch him leave, but the Blazers roster is completely capped out, and they sadly are not a championship contending team. However, the assets they could reel in for Dame have to make them a little bit excited. Going into a rebuild and embracing losing is never fun, but in the long run, it could lead to a more stable, long-term championship core if they draft right, make smart free agency signings, etc. There's not a lot of room for error when it comes to these small market teams too. I think a Dame-Portland breakup would be mutually beneficial for both sides. Dame has poured his heart and soul into Portland and has become a legend in Oregon. But if he wants to win a ring and compete for titles, he's got to leave at this point. And as for the Blazers, like I said, letting Dame go will be sad, but it'll be time to move on to the next chapter of their franchise and look towards the bright future. But that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know what you guys think Damian Lillard should do, and let me know which packages you think would be the best in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe to the Right Way Sports Network YouTube channel and follow us on all social medias. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope you have an awesome rest of your day.